The most dangerous places to dive on Earth. They're sites where even the most experienced divers risk it all. From deep, dark sinkholes to predator-filled waters and treacherous underwater mazes, these locations test human limits like never before. Each dive could mean facing deadly currents, venomous creatures, or the crushing pressure of extreme depths. In this video, we're diving into the world's deadliest underwater locations, exploring the thrill and beauty and the life-threatening risks that come with them. Whether it's wrecks filled with hidden dangers or natural formations designed to trap the unwary, these are the dive sites where mistakes can be fatal. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and sit back tight, watch till end. And now, let's start our video with Chuuk Lagoon, a haunting underwater graveyard steeped in World War II history. It is one of the deadliest dive sites due to its deep Wubbo-Wubbo-2 wrecks, tight compartments, sharp debris, and the constant risk of nitrogen narcosis or decompression sickness. First is Chuuk Lagoon, Micronesia, a graveyard underwater. Today, we're talking about Chuuk Lagoon, one of the most dangerous dive spots in the world, where history and danger meet. Imagine this: you're diving into a calm, blue lagoon, but underneath lies a graveyard of over 50 sunken ships and 275 planes, all destroyed in a massive World War II bombing. These wrecks sit quietly on the ocean floor, surrounded by coral and marine life. But don't let the beauty fool you. This place is no easy dive. Chuuk Lagoon is famous for its history and incredible underwater sites, but it's also a challenging and dangerous spot. The deep waters can cause nitrogen narcosis, a condition that clouds your judgment. Exploring inside the wrecks can be risky, with tight spaces, tangled wires, and the chance of getting lost. This isn't just a dive site. It's a place where adventure and danger go hand in hand. By the end of this video, you'll understand why Chuuk Lagoon isn't for the faint of heart and what makes it one of the most thrilling yet deadly places to dive. Let's dive in. Chuuk Lagoon, Micronesia, a graveyard underwater. Chuuk Lagoon in Micronesia is one of the most hauntingly beautiful underwater graveyards in the world. Once a thriving Japanese naval base during World War II, it became the target of Operation Hailstone, a devastating Allied assault in February 1944. Over 40 ships and 275 planes were sunk within 2 days, marking a decisive blow to Japan's naval power. Today, these wrecks rest at the lagoon's bottom, preserved by time and covered in coral, creating a unique underwater ecosystem. However, Chuuk Lagoon is more than just a diver's paradise. It is a somber reminder of the lives lost in the chaos of war. Many wrecks still contain human remains, adding an emotional weight to the experience. For the local population, the war represented years of hardship under Japanese rule, with forced labor and food shortages taking a toll on their community. While the wrecks now contribute to the local economy through tourism, they also carry the memory of suffering and sacrifice. Chuuk Lagoon's popularity as a diving destination has grown exponentially, with thousands of enthusiasts traveling each year to explore its underwater relics. The lagoon offers a rare glimpse into history, with bombers, battleships, and cargo vessels resting in their final positions. Yet, this opportunity comes with challenges and risks, especially at sites like the San Francisco Maru, where the allure of exploration must be tempered with respect for its historical and cultural significance. Exploring the San Francisco Maru. The San Francisco Maru is one of Chuuk Lagoon's most iconic wrecks, often referred to as the $1 Million Wreck due to the wealth of preserved artifacts on board. This Japanese cargo ship, sunk during Operation Hailstone, lies at a depth of 160 feet, making it a destination for only experienced divers. The wreck is a time capsule, filled with tanks, bombs, vehicles, and other wartime relics that provide a window into World War II's destructive legacy. Diving into the San Francisco Maru feels like stepping back in time. The deck is adorned with coral and marine life, but the outlines of tanks and munitions are still visible. Entering the ship's interior, divers encounter rows of bombs and machinery, offering a chilling reminder of its wartime purpose. Yet, this exploration is not without risk. The depth, combined combined with narrow compartments and unstable structures, demands precision and caution. Despite its allure, the San Francisco Maru underscores the tension between adventure and respect. It is not merely a diving site, but also a war grave, holding the remains of Japanese sailors who perished during the attack. Divers are often reminded of this as they navigate through spaces where human bones can still be seen. This haunting presence elevates the dive from a thrilling experience to a somber reflection on the cost of war. For those who venture to the San Francisco Maru, the dive represents the pinnacle of wreck diving, combining historical significance with physical and psychological challenges. However, it also serves as a stark reminder of the risks involved and the respect required when exploring such sacred spaces. The risks of wreck diving. Diving in Chuuk Lagoon, particularly at sites like the San Francisco Maru, is not for the faint-hearted. These dives present unique risks, blending the dangers of deep water diving with the challenges of navigating underwater wreckage. Divers must be prepared to face dark, confined spaces, sharp edges, and entangling wires, which can damage equipment or trap unwary explorers. Navigating the tight compartments of the San Francisco Maru, for instance, demands skill and experience. The ship's narrow hallways and cluttered cargo holds can disorient even seasoned divers. Visibility is often reduced due to silt stirred up by movement, making it easy to lose track of exits. Equipment failures or entanglements in rusted wires and debris further compound the risks. These physical hazards are a stark reminder that wreck diving requires more than technical expertise. It demands careful planning and mental fortitude. Beyond the wreck itself, the depth of many dives in Chuuk Lagoon poses additional challenges. The San Francisco Maru lies at 160 feet, a depth where divers face nitrogen narcosis, a condition that impairs judgment and motor skills. This rapture of the deep can lead to poor decision-making, increasing the likelihood of accidents. Moreover, emergency ascents are fraught with danger, as decompression sickness becomes a serious risk when divers ascend too quickly. Ultimately, the risks of wreck diving underscore the importance of preparation and respect for the environment. Divers must adhere to depth limits, use proper equipment, and avoid unnecessary risks. Chuuk Lagoon's beauty and historical significance are undeniable, but they come with challenges that demand careful consideration. A tragic tragedy struck in 2018 when a diver exploring the San Francisco Maru lost his life, highlighting the dangers of wreck diving in Chuuk Lagoon. The individual became entangled in wires inside the wreck's interior, unable to free himself in time. Despite efforts to rescue him, the depth and confined space made recovery almost impossible. This incident serves as a sobering reminder of the risks inherent in exploring underwater relics, especially those as deep and complex as the San Francisco Maru. Diving at such depths requires meticulous planning, backup systems, and adherence to safety protocols. The tragedy emphasizes the importance of proper training and preparation before attempting wreck dives. Many divers underestimate the challenges of navigating confined spaces or dealing with unexpected emergencies at significant depths. Without a clear plan and adequate experience, even minor complications can escalate into life-threatening situations. This incident also raises questions about the balance between adventure and safety. While wreck diving offers unparalleled opportunities to explore history, it is essential to remember that these sites are inherently dangerous. Divers must respect their limits and approach such dives with caution, ensuring that the thrill of exploration does not come at the cost of their lives. The tragedy at the San Francisco Maru is a poignant reminder of the stakes involved in wreck diving. It underscores the need for respect, preparation, and a deep understanding of the risks, ensuring that such incidents are minimized in the future. Deep water dangers. Diving to depths, like those at the San Francisco Maru, presents unique challenges that go beyond exploring wreckage. At 160 feet, divers face the effects of nitrogen narcosis, a condition caused by the increased absorption of nitrogen under pressure. Often described as feeling intoxicated, nitrogen narcosis impairs judgment, coordination, and reaction time, making it one of the most dangerous aspects of deep water diving. Compounding this is the risk of decompression sickness, or the bends, which occurs when divers ascend too quickly. At great depths, nitrogen builds up in the body's tissues. A rapid ascent can cause the nitrogen to form bubbles, leading to severe pain, paralysis, or even death. Divers exploring the San Francisco Maru must meticulously manage their air supply and ascent rate, often requiring decompression stops to safely return to the surface. Emergency situations at these depths are particularly perilous. Equipment failures, entanglements, or unexpected health issues leave little room for error. Rescue efforts are complicated by the depth and limited visibility, making self-reliance and preparation critical. Divers must use specialized gear, such as redundant air supplies, and undergo rigorous training to navigate these risks. The dangers of deep water diving serve as a stark reminder of the importance of respecting one's limits. Chuuk Lagoon's allure lies in its beauty and history, but it also demands caution and respect. Proper training, planning, and awareness are essential to safely explore the depths and honor the site's historical significance. Ultimately, Chuuk Lagoon is a place where history, danger, and beauty collide. It forces us to confront uncomfortable questions about war, memory, and the ways we choose to honor the past. We've explored the wrecks, the dangers of deep diving, and even the tragedy that comes with pushing the limits. Whether you're a diver, a history enthusiast, or just someone curious about the secrets the ocean hides, Chuuk Lagoon gives us all something to reflect on. It's a testament to both human ambition and the cost of conflict. If you enjoyed this journey with us, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us dive even deeper into fascinating stories like this one. And, of course, if you've got thoughts, questions, or personal stories about diving or history, share them in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time as we uncover more hidden wonders and stories from around the world. Is the Devil's Caves, Florida, a maze of danger? What if the crystal clear waters you see while diving aren't as calm as they seem? Beauty and danger coexist in unexpected ways in Florida's Devil's Cave. These underwater caves, which include Little Devil, Devil's Eye, and Devil's Ear, are a fascinating sight for divers from all over the world. They promise a breathtaking experience, but beneath the surface lies a deadly truth. What could go wrong when surrounded by such mesmerizing clarity? Let's start with the strong currents. Devil's Ears, where the springs meet the Santa Fe River, produces whirlpools powerful enough to blow even the most experienced divers off course. Where you can't swim to get air, tragedy can happen, and it's happened before. Divers have been pulled into the whirlpools, lost control, and ultimately drowned. Some people have died from running out of breath while desperately trying to get back out. But that's not all. Cave diving is not like regular diving. There's no room for error in the narrow, dark passages. You can't just surface. If something goes wrong, there's no way to surface in a hurry. Divers have to retrace their steps, but in labyrinthine tunnels like these, it can be extremely difficult. People have lost their lives in Devil's Caves, and every year, more divers risk all sorts of danger to explore them. So, why are they still so fascinating? What makes these caves so dangerous yet so fascinating? Join us as we uncover the deadly reality behind Devil's Dens and why only the most prepared venture into their depths. A beautiful but deadly sight. The Devil's Caves, located in Ginnie Springs, Florida, are some of the most beautiful yet deadly underwater cave systems in the world. Known for their crystal-clear waters and breathtaking formations, these caves have captivated divers from all over. The three primary sections, Little Devil, Devil's Eye, and Devil's Ear, are renowned for their pristine waters and captivating beauty, offering an underwater world that seems almost magical. However, what makes these caves so dangerous isn't immediately obvious. Beneath the allure of the clear water lies a complex maze of passages that can disorient even the most seasoned divers. The caves themselves are deceptive in their beauty, hiding many dangers that can quickly turn a dream dive into a nightmare. The tunnels are narrow, and some passages are so tight that divers can feel claustrophobic. The deeper you go, the darker and more confusing the labyrinth becomes, and with limited visibility in certain areas, it's easy to lose track of direction. The cave's beauty masks their treacherous nature. The still, inviting waters encourage divers to venture deeper into the caves, but it's important to understand that diving here requires more than just an adventurous spirit. It demands immense caution and respect for the environment. The caves may look peaceful, but they can easily become a trap. Divers often find themselves lost in the winding corridors, and with no clear path back to the surface, panic can set in quickly. The beauty of the Devil's Caves hides the deadly risk it poses to those who underestimate its complexity. Strong currents add to the risk. One of the most dangerous aspects of diving in the Devil's Caves is the strong currents that rush through certain parts, especially the Devil's Ear. The Devil's Ear is where the spring water meets the Santa Fe River, creating a powerful vortex that can easily pull divers off course. The force of the current is so strong that it can dislodge a diver's gear, push them into tight, dangerous areas of the cave, or even push them into the depths far from their intended path. Navigating through these strong currents is a significant challenge, as they can change in strength unexpectedly. The currents are unpredictable, and even the most experienced divers can find themselves caught in a dangerous situation. For divers who aren't prepared, the currents can lead to a sudden loss of control. A diver who gets swept off course may find themselves struggling to regain their footing, facing the risk of being carried deeper into the cave system or trapped in an isolated area. The currents also make it difficult to navigate the caves. It's easy to become disoriented and lose track of direction when fighting against strong water pressure. With limited space to maneuver and powerful forces at play, divers must remain alert and constantly aware of their surroundings. What may initially seem like an exciting dive can quickly turn into a fight for survival if a diver becomes caught in a powerful current. Diving in the Devil's Caves isn't just about exploring beauty. It's about understanding the harsh realities of underwater environments. The currents in the caves are a constant reminder that in this stunning yet treacherous environment, danger is never far away. A deadly incident in 2018. In 2018, the Devil's Caves claimed a tragic victim. A diver, overwhelmed by the powerful vortex in the Devil's Ear, was swept away and drowned after losing control. The currents in this part of the cave system are notorious for their strength, and this tragic incident is just one of many that has occurred here. The combination of powerful currents, tight passages, and disorientation creates a deadly environment for divers who are not fully prepared. What makes this incident particularly alarming is that it wasn't an isolated event. Many divers have lost their lives in these caves over the years. Some, like the diver in 2018, have been caught in the strong currents of the Devil's Ear and swept away. Others have perished after running out of air while attempting to find their way back to the surface. The maze-like layout of the caves, combined with the relentless currents, can easily disorient divers and make it difficult to find the way out. In these situations, running out of air is a common cause of death, as divers can lose track of time and become trapped in tight spaces with no way to ascend. The 2018 incident serves as a sobering reminder of the dangers that lurk in the Devil's Caves. Even experienced divers can fall victim to the unpredictable conditions, and it's crucial to approach these caves with extreme caution. A single mistake, whether it's underestimating the strength of the current or losing track of air supply, can have deadly consequences. These deaths are a grim part of the history of the Devil's Caves. Each incident highlights the importance of preparation, respect for the environment, and the need for divers to always be mindful of their surroundings. The risk of tragedy is always present, and it's a stark reminder that beauty and danger can coexist in the underwater world. No room for emergency ascents. Cave diving presents unique challenges that make it far more dangerous than regular open-water diving. In the case of the Devil's Caves, one of the most critical risks is the lack of room for emergency ascents. Unlike in open water, where divers can shoot straight up to the surface in an emergency, cave divers are forced to navigate back the way they came. Once inside, the narrow dark passages of the Devil's Caves, ascending directly to the surface isn't an option. The only way out is to retrace your steps, and this is easier said than done. The tight, winding tunnels make it incredibly difficult to move quickly, and with limited visibility, divers can easily become disoriented. The risk of panic is high, especially for those who aren't familiar with cave diving protocols. In some cases, divers have been lost in the caves, unable to find their way back to the exit, running out of air in the process. This is one of the main reasons cave diving is considered so dangerous. The inability to make a direct descent means that divers must plan their dives carefully and always be aware of their air supply. Getting lost or stuck in a tight spot can quickly lead to a life-threatening situation. The pressure of knowing that you can't just ascend in case of an emergency adds an extra layer of stress, which can affect a diver's ability to think clearly and make the right decisions. In the Devil's Caves, this restriction on emergency ascents increases the level of risk exponentially. Divers must always ensure that they have enough air, are aware of their surroundings, and know the layout of the caves to avoid becoming trapped. The possibility of running out of air or becoming disoriented is a constant threat, and the stakes are high. Why it's so dangerous. The Devil's Caves are a deadly mix of unpredictable currents, tight spaces, and the potential for disorientation. Many divers underestimate the maze-like nature of the caves and the effects of the strong currents that can easily pull them off course. What makes this environment particularly dangerous is the combination of all these factors, which can lead to a series of unfortunate events in a short period. Divers often fail to realize just how quickly they can become lost. The caves are incredibly complex, and even experienced cave divers can find themselves disoriented. The dark, narrow passages make it difficult to judge distance, and the water's clarity, which seems like an advantage, can actually make it harder to maintain orientation. It's easy to lose track of the exit, especially when the mind starts to panic in the face of overwhelming conditions. Adding to the danger is the effect of the strong currents. These currents, particularly in the Devil's Ear, can quickly alter a diver's path. If you get caught in the vortex, it can pull you into tighter, more dangerous sections of the cave. With limited space to maneuver and only one way in and out, the risk of getting stuck or losing gear is always present. Equipment failure in these conditions can be catastrophic, as there's little room to fix any issues once you're deep within the cave. Disorientation, panic, and equipment failure can easily snowball into a fatal situation in the Devil's Caves. Many divers, particularly those without adequate training, underestimate these dangers and end up in life-threatening situations. The maze-like layout of the caves, combined with the unforgiving currents, means that preparation, experience, and respect for the environment are essential for survival. Be prepared or stay away. If there's one lesson to be learned from the Devil's Caves, it's this. Only the most highly trained divers should even think about attempting to explore these waters. The combination of strong currents, complex cave systems, and the potential for disorientation means that diving here is not something to be taken lightly. Preparation is key to survival. Cave divers need to be skilled in navigating tight spaces, managing their air supply, and remaining calm under pressure. Without proper training and equipment, even the most experienced divers can fall victim to the dangers of the Devil's Caves. If you aren't prepared for the challenges that these caves present, it's better to stay away altogether. Divers must always plan their dives carefully, taking into account the unpredictable currents, the maze-like nature of the caves, and the tight spaces that can quickly become hazardous. Respecting the dangers of the environment and understanding the risks is essential. It's not enough to simply have the desire to explore these caves. It requires meticulous planning, knowledge, and the ability to stay calm under extreme pressure. The Devil's Caves may offer an unforgettable adventure, but the dangers are very real. Only those who are properly prepared and highly trained should even consider diving here. If you're not ready for the challenges of cave diving, it's best to appreciate the beauty from a distance rather than risk becoming another tragic story. Our next stop takes us to the tropical waters of Indonesia. At Snake Ridge, divers face an unnerving challenge, sharing the depths with countless venomous sea snakes in their natural habitat. 3RD is Snake Ridge, Indonesia. Diving with venomous snakes. What if I told you that there's a place on Earth where the sea isn't just home to fish, but to hundreds of venomous snakes? Sounds terrifying, right? In this video, we're going to take you to one of the most thrilling and dangerous dive sites in the world, Snake Ridge, Indonesia. Imagine plunging into the depths of the ocean, and suddenly you're surrounded by hundreds of venomous sea snakes. It sounds terrifying, right? Well, that's exactly what awaits you at this unique dive site. But what makes this location so dangerous isn't just the snakes. It's the combination of depth, narcosis, and the overwhelming psychological challenge of staying calm while venomous creatures surround you. We'll be exploring how divers interact with these snakes, how the environment tests their nerves of steel, and the risks that come with such an extreme dive. From the thrill of being in close proximity to these creatures, to the panic that can turn deadly in an instant, we're going to uncover it all. We'll also talk about the critical aspects of diving in a place like this, how to respect the wildlife, stay calm in the face of danger, and avoid making fatal mistakes. We'll dive into the real dangers, like nitrogen narcosis, which only adds to the intensity of the experience, and what you need to keep in mind before you even think about diving here. So, stay with us as we dive into the depths of Snake Ridge, where nature's beauty is met with some of its deadliest creatures. A unique dive site. Snake Ridge, located near the majestic Gunung Api volcano in Indonesia, is one of the most unique and nerve-wracking dive sites on the planet. This hidden gem is home to hundreds of venomous sea snakes, making it a destination unlike any other for divers seeking an adrenaline rush. These snakes, known for their sleek bodies and venomous bite, are often found hunting in large groups and sometimes even approach divers. This unique characteristic sets Snake Ridge apart from other dive sites. The sea snakes here are particularly curious, and their behavior can be unpredictable. While most divers are accustomed to encountering marine life like turtles or colorful fish, Snake Ridge offers the opportunity and the challenge of coming face to face with some of the ocean's deadliest creatures. The snakes swim gracefully through the waters, often coming very close to divers, their eyes fixed on the foreign intruders. It's not uncommon for divers to find themselves surrounded by multiple snakes, with the creatures weaving in and out of sight, adding an element of suspense and fear. While the snakes may not necessarily pose an immediate threat, their venomous nature combined with the uncertainty of their actions means divers must remain highly alert and composed. This site is not for the faint of heart. The unpredictable encounters with these venomous creatures, coupled with the stunning underwater views, create a thrilling but dangerous experience that keeps divers coming back for more. In addition to the snakes, the rich biodiversity of Snake Ridge draws divers from around the world. Its crystal clear waters and diverse marine life make it a diver's paradise. But it's the ever-present venomous sea snakes that add a level of excitement that few other dive locations can match. For those brave enough to face these creatures in their natural habitat, Snake Ridge offers a unique opportunity to explore the undersea world in a way that few other locations can replicate. The challenge of depth. Diving at Snake Ridge isn't just about dealing with venomous sea snakes, it also presents unique challenges due to its sharp descent and deep waters. The dive slope drops rapidly, taking divers to depths that pose significant risks, especially for those not accustomed to diving at such levels. As divers descend deeper into the waters, the danger of nitrogen narcosis becomes a serious concern. This condition, which results from the increased pressure at depth, can impair judgment, create feelings of euphoria, and distort perception, making it harder to think clearly or act calmly. At Snake Ridge, nitrogen narcosis becomes a particularly dangerous factor due to the combination of depth and venomous creatures. The mental and physical challenges of diving in such conditions require a diver to maintain composure while navigating the ever-present threat of a snake encounter. As divers go deeper, their ability to react to sudden dangers, like a sea snake approaching, becomes compromised by the effects of narcosis. In an environment where quick thinking and precise movements are crucial, this combination of factors can be deadly. The sheer depth of the dive, along with the potential for sudden encounters with sea snakes, adds a psychological layer to the challenge. Not only do divers need to manage their buoyancy and air consumption, but they must also stay mentally sharp, resisting the temptation to panic when the snakes come too close. The deep waters and sharp slopes of Snake Ridge make it one of the most demanding dive locations in the world. Divers must be aware of the potential risks of narcosis and carefully manage their dive profiles to ensure their safety. For those who dive here, it's vital to be prepared for both the physical and psychological challenges of the site. These dangers, combined with the venomous sea snakes, make Snake Ridge a destination that is only suitable for the most experienced and brave divers. When panic turns deadly. One of the most dangerous aspects of diving at Snake Ridge is the way that panic can escalate a potentially dangerous situation. During encounters with the venomous sea snakes, some divers have experienced overwhelming fear, leading to erratic behavior. This panic can have fatal consequences. In one tragic case, a diver, overcome by fear during a snake encounter, made a sudden, uncoordinated movement that led to being bitten. The snake's venom was swift and deadly, causing severe envenomation. Despite quick attempts to get the diver to safety, the damage had already been done. The incident highlights just how crucial it is for divers to remain calm in the face of danger. Sea snakes, while venomous, are generally not aggressive toward humans. They will often swim away or continue hunting, without paying much attention to divers. However, if they feel threatened or startled, they may bite in self-defense. In moments of panic, divers might inadvertently provoke the snake, increasing the likelihood of an attack. Moreover, panic can impair a diver's ability to make rational decisions. During safety stops, divers are particularly vulnerable, as they are often at a shallower depth and have less time to react. The presence of multiple snakes at these shallow depths can cause confusion and disorientation, making it difficult for divers to maintain their buoyancy and perform necessary safety procedures. The stress of being surrounded by these venomous creatures can cloud a diver's judgment, and in some cases, this has led to accidents and further injuries. To dive at Snake Ridge safely, divers must learn to manage their fear. Controlled breathing, slow movements, and maintaining situational awareness are essential for avoiding panic. In an environment where the stakes are so high, even a small misstep can lead to dire consequences. It's a reminder of how important mental discipline is in diving, particularly when dealing with unpredictable wildlife. Respecting the wildlife. Despite their venomous nature, the sea snakes at Snake Ridge are generally non-aggressive. They are primarily interested in hunting and will often ignore divers unless provoked. The key to safely interacting with these snakes is respect. The importance of remaining calm and avoiding sudden movements cannot be overstated. Sudden gestures or fast movements can startle the snakes, prompting them to react defensively. Divers should approach these snakes with caution and give them plenty of space. As long as the snakes feel unthreatened, they are unlikely to strike. It's crucial to remember that they are an integral part of the ecosystem, and their behavior is simply a reflection of their instincts. Most of the time, these snakes are simply curious and will swim near divers without showing any signs of aggression. The most dangerous interactions usually occur when divers either accidentally get too close or make quick, jerky movements. Divers who respect the animal's space and move slowly are less likely to provoke them. It's also important to avoid cornering or touching the snakes, as this can trigger a defensive response. Keeping calm and respecting the wildlife's boundaries is essential to ensure a safe and enjoyable experience. By respecting the sea snakes and maintaining a calm, composed demeanor, divers can coexist with these potentially dangerous creatures without causing harm to themselves or the snakes. Snake Ridge provides a unique opportunity to observe these creatures in their natural habitat, but it is a reminder that nature, no matter how beautiful, demands respect and caution. What makes this dive so hard? Diving at Snake Ridge is not just a test of physical ability, but also of mental strength. The constant presence of venomous sea snakes creates a psychological challenge that few other dive sites can match. The risk of encountering these creatures, especially when surrounded by them during safety stops or deep water explorations, can cause stress and even anxiety. This is where the mental aspect of diving comes into play. Remaining calm is essential for making sound decisions and avoiding panic. Furthermore, divers must also manage the typical challenges of depth and buoyancy. At Snake Ridge, the waters are often deeper and more treacherous than expected. The dive slope and the potential for narcosis only add to the complexity of the dive. Divers must carefully monitor their air supply, buoyancy, and depth, all while remaining mentally focused in an environment full of unpredictable risks. This combination of mental and physical demands makes Snake Ridge a uniquely difficult dive. The psychological strain of knowing that venomous snakes are never far away makes every movement feel heightened. The presence of these snakes often forces divers to stay hyper-aware of their surroundings, anticipating their next move and always being ready to react to any sudden encounter. This constant state of alertness, combined with the physical challenges of depth and buoyancy control, means that only experienced and well-prepared divers should attempt a dive here. The mental toughness required to dive in these conditions is what separates Snake Ridge from other dive sites. It's not just about surviving the encounter, it's about maintaining composure under pressure. Only for the brave and prepared, Snake Ridge is undoubtedly one of the most thrilling and dangerous dive sites in the world. However, it is not for the faint of heart. This dive requires more than just physical skill. It demands mental fortitude, precision, and a deep respect for the wildlife. It's a place that tests a diver's ability to remain calm and collected while surrounded by venomous creatures that could strike at any moment. Only the most experienced divers should consider diving at Snake Ridge. Divers must have a solid understanding of their body's reactions under pressure and be prepared for the unique challenges that high-risk environments like Snake Ridge present. Preparation is key. Divers should undergo thorough training in high-stress dive conditions and learn the ins and outs of managing anxiety and fear during a dive. For those who are brave and well-prepared, Snake Ridge offers a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to experience the ocean in an entirely new way. However, it's a powerful reminder that nature's beauty often comes with inherent risks. This dive is not just about the thrill, it's about having the knowledge, skills, and mindset to navigate a dangerous environment safely. If you're considering diving at Snake Ridge, make sure you're up for the challenge. It's a place where only the most experienced and mentally prepared divers will truly thrive. This is the Shaft Sinkhole, Australia, a descent into darkness.
We're getting our clearest view yet of a large sinkhole that swallowed a Seffner man. The video was released today by Hillsborough County officials. Our Ashley Glass spoke with Jeff Bush's family about exactly what it shows. And we're getting our clearest view yet of a large sinkhole that swallowed a Seffner man. The video was released today by Hillsborough County officials. Our Ashley Glass spoke with Jeff Bush's family about exactly what it shows.
A seemingly innocent hole in the ground, hidden away in the small town of Mount Gambier, Australia, became the site of one of the most tragic and unforgettable disasters in diving history. The Shaft, a mysterious sinkhole that lures divers with its narrow, unassuming entrance, is a place that has taken more than just breathless explorers into its depths. It claimed an entire family, 4 lives lost forever in a catastrophe that shook the country to its core. What was meant to be an adventure turned into an unthinkable tragedy, a lesson in how quickly things can go wrong when we push past our limits. At first glance, the shaft looks like nothing more than a small opening in the earth. But, as experienced divers who had explored some of the world's most dangerous caves would soon find out, this seemingly harmless crack in the ground hides a treacherous, labyrinthine world below, one where every decision can lead to disaster. And, for one family, the line between life and death would prove to be far thinner than they ever could have imagined. In May of 1973, 4 experienced divers, including 19-year-old Christine Millett, embarked on what was supposed to be a routine dive in the sinkhole. Raised by a professional diver, Christine had 15 years of experience under her belt. Along with her family, her father, Gordon Roberts, and her cousins, Stephen and John, they felt confident, prepared, and ready to explore the depths of this mysterious cave system. They had done it before, and they thought they knew the risks. But, as the saying goes, familiarity breeds contempt. The group did not account for the unpredictable dangers that lurk within caves like the Shaft. They didn't have a formal dive plan, they lacked a leader, and they neglected critical safety protocols. What followed was a horrifying series of events that ended with all 4 divers trapped in total darkness, fighting for their lives in a maze they couldn't escape. What went wrong? And why did this tragedy unfold in such a seemingly harmless place? Join us as we dive into the tragic story of the Shaft Sinkhole Disaster, exploring the series of mistakes and circumstances that led to the untimely deaths of these 4 experienced divers and how their loss changed diving safety forever. This is the story of a sinkhole that didn't just claim lives, it changed the course of diving history. A narrow entrance to the unknown. The Shaft, located in Mount Gambier, Australia, holds a dark and dangerous secret. From the surface, it seems like just another hole in the ground, nothing more than a small opening in the earth. But looks can be deceiving. This narrow entrance is the beginning of a treacherous journey into the unknown. Divers who attempt to explore the shaft must first be lowered into its depths without any gear. It's a daunting start, but the real challenge lies ahead. Once inside, the divers are plunged into total darkness. The only way forward is to retrieve their equipment, which is suspended in the black void. It's not just an inconvenience, it's a life-or-death situation. Imagine diving into the unknown without the safety net of your gear, relying solely on your training and instincts to navigate the dangerous depths. As divers descend further, the sense of isolation becomes overwhelming. As one diver once said, "It's a place where the darkness feels like it's alive, and you're just a speck in it." The shaft's entrance may seem small and manageable at first, but it's this deceptive start that lures divers into a false sense of security. What awaits them inside is a world of danger hidden from view, and for those who are ill-prepared, the consequences can be fatal. The tragic history of the 1973 diving tragedy. May 1973 marked a tragic chapter in the history of the shaft. 4 experienced divers, Christine Millett, Stephen Millett, John Bockerman, and Gordon Roberts, set out to explore the sinkhole. They were a group of family members, confident in their abilities and eager for the adventure. But, as we know all too well, sometimes even the most experienced can fall victim to the unpredictable forces of nature. Christine, at just 19 years old, was already a skilled diver with 15 years of experience under her belt. Raised by a professional diver father, she was no stranger to the challenges of underwater exploration. But, despite their qualifications, something was missing. The team lacked a formal dive plan, a leader to guide them, and, most critically, the necessary safety protocols. They ventured into the shaft without the structure that might have saved them. Christine had once said, Diving is about respect for the water, the unknown, and yourself. Sadly, that respect would be tested in ways they could never have imagined. The tragedy was not just a failure of preparation, but a stark reminder of how easily things can go wrong when safety isn't a priority. The group's decision to go beyond the planned depth would be their undoing. And, as they would soon discover, the shaft held far more danger than they had anticipated. The dive plan gone awry. The team's plan was straightforward. Stay within the 200-foot depth range, exploring the main cavern and using the natural light from above for orientation. It was a simple plan, but one that didn't account for the unpredictable nature of cave diving. The second day of the dive, however, would reveal the consequences of straying from the plan. Christine and the others decided to go deeper. Their goal was ambitious: to break records and dive to 250 feet, far beyond the depth they had originally planned. They ventured into narrow tunnels, testing their personal limits. What they didn't anticipate was the overwhelming risk involved in pushing these boundaries. As one diver later recalled, "When you're at those depths, it's easy to forget how quickly everything can go wrong." The absence of mixed gases, which are essential at those depths, was a critical mistake. Without proper gas mixtures, they were exposed to the dangers of nitrogen narcosis. At depths like 250 feet, nitrogen narcosis can impair judgment, making even simple decisions feel like monumental challenges. But it wasn't just nitrogen narcosis that spelled danger. It was the simple fact that the group had wandered into uncharted waters, beyond the limits of their dive plan. Christine's father had always warned, "The ocean doesn't forgive mistakes." That day, the waters of the shaft would show no mercy. The silent perils of the tunnel. At depths of 200 to 250 feet, divers begin to experience the effects of nitrogen narcosis. It's a condition that can affect even the most seasoned divers, clouding their thinking and slowing their reaction times. The deeper they go, the harder it is to stay focused. But what made the shaft even more dangerous wasn't just the narcosis, it was the tunnels. As the divers explored further, they entered a narrow tunnel, disturbing the silt along the floor. The silt quickly clouded the water, reducing visibility to almost zero. The once clear passageways were now filled with an impenetrable haze, leaving the divers unable to see more than a few inches in front of them. The tunnel became a deadly maze. As one survivor later described, "In the darkness, there's no up, no down, no direction. You just have to hope you're going the right way." In cave diving, navigation is everything. But with no clear reference points and the silt now obscuring the path, the divers found themselves trapped in an environment that was quickly becoming impossible to navigate. With no way to know which direction led back to safety, their chances of escape were dwindling fast. Panic and disorientation under extreme conditions. In the heart of the shaft, the divers' worst fears came to life. Trapped in the silt-filled tunnel, Christine, Gordon, and the others struggled to orient themselves. Every move felt like a gamble, with no way of knowing whether they were heading toward the main cavern or deeper into the darkness. Panic set in as their air supplies started to dwindle. The silt that had once obscured their vision now became a wall of terror. Without clear reference points, it was impossible to tell which way to go. It wasn't just the lack of visibility. It was the disorientation, the confusion, and the sheer desperation of trying to survive. As one diver later said, "When you're in that situation, time doesn't exist. You're just trying to stay alive." Despite their best efforts to find an exit, the divers couldn't escape. Their air ran out, and the search for a way out was in vain. Christine, Gordon, and the others perished in that cold, unforgiving darkness. Their story serves as a grim reminder of how quickly things can spiral out of control, even for the most experienced divers. The cost of risk and the loss of life. It wasn't until 11 months later that the bodies of the 4 divers were finally recovered. The search efforts had been exhaustive, but the depths of the shaft had proven impossible to conquer. Their tragic deaths left an indelible mark on the diving community, sparking an urgent reevaluation of diving practices. The incident highlighted a crucial difference between cave and open water diving. The shaft's dark, enclosed environment required different techniques, skills, and safety protocols. As one diving expert noted, cave diving is not like diving in the ocean. The risks are different, and the environment is much more unforgiving. The tragedy also revealed just how easily a lack of planning and safety protocols can lead to disaster. It was a lesson learned too late for those 4 divers, but one that would change the course of diving safety forever. Lessons learned and the legacy of the tragedy. In the aftermath of the 1973 tragedy, new diving standards were introduced to prevent similar disasters. Among the most important changes were the implementation of cave diving certifications for all divers. No longer would divers be allowed to explore cave systems without the proper training and knowledge. The introduction of dive leaders and structured dive plans became mandatory. As one survivor put it, a plan is your lifeline. Without it, you're just winging it in the dark. The tragedy also led to the adoption of buddy systems and the use of safety divers at deeper intervals. These measures ensured that divers had a support system in place, even in the most challenging environments, and the use of mixed gases to reduce the effects of nitrogen narcosis became standard practice at greater depths. Most importantly, the lessons learned from this tragedy paved the way for clearer guidelines for cave exploration. The legacy of Christine, Stephen, John, and Gordon lives on, not just in memory, but in the safety practices that now protect divers worldwide. As one diver summed it up, we owe them our safety. Every dive, every lesson learned is because of them. The tragedy of 1973 at the shaft is a stark reminder of the unforgiven nature of cave diving. 4 experienced divers, despite their skills and knowledge, were lost to the depths due to a lack of proper planning, safety measures, and respect for the dangers lurking below. Their story became a turning point for the diving community, leading to stricter guidelines, the introduction of cave diving certifications, and mandatory safety practices that have saved countless lives since. The legacy of Christine, Stephen, John, and Gordon lives on in the lessons learned from their tragic loss, ensuring that no dive is undertaken without the necessary preparation and respect for the unknown. In the end, the shaft's narrow entrance serves as a reminder of how easily things can go wrong, even in the most familiar environments. A reminder that in the world of cave diving, the smallest mistakes can cost everything. Now, we'll take you to one of the most unique and challenging dive sites on the planet, Lake Titicaca, straddling the border between Peru and Bolivia. At over 12,500 feet above sea level, this high-altitude dive presents dangers that few divers are prepared for. 5th is Lake Titicaca, Peru/Bolivia. High-altitude challenges. Lake Titicaca, nestled at an astonishing 2,500 feet above sea level, is the highest navigable lake on Earth. Its stunning underwater ruins hold secrets from ancient civilizations, drawing explorers from all over the globe. But what many don't realize is that this stunning lake hides a set of challenges that can make a simple dive into a deadly risk. At such an extreme altitude, the air pressure is so low that it makes diving here feel far more dangerous than anywhere else. Imagine descending just 40 meters, only to feel like you're at 63 meters at sea level. That's how drastically the altitude alters the way your body responds to the dive. The risks of decompression sickness skyrocket, and tragically, it's happened. Divers have lost their lives misjudging their air supply or decompression stops in this unforgiving environment. But it's not just about what happens underwater. Even planning a dive here requires meticulous preparation. You have to adjust dive plans to account for the reduced oxygen levels, factor in longer decompression stops, and extend recovery times between dives. Without careful planning, a simple miscalculation can lead to death. The dangers of a rapid ascent here are even worse. The lack of oxygen means your body doesn't recover as quickly, and an emergency ascent can be fatal. That's why diving in Lake Titicaca isn't for the average diver. Only those with specialized training and experience in high-altitude diving should dare to take the plunge. Stick around, because in this video, we'll uncover the true risks of diving in Lake Titicaca and why this beautiful lake can be one of the deadliest places on Earth to explore. Lake Titicaca, straddling the border of Peru and Bolivia, is the world's highest navigable lake, sitting at an altitude of 2,500 feet. Known for its breathtaking beauty, it offers divers a rare experience, diving in a place where the air is thin and the waters are steeped in ancient mystery. Underwater ruins lie hidden beneath the lake's surface, offering a fascinating glimpse into the lives of the civilizations that once inhabited the region. Divers who explore its depths can witness the remains of temples, old settlements, and other artifacts that date back thousands of years. However, while the lake's history and beauty draw divers from around the world, there's an important fact that cannot be ignored. Diving at this altitude is not like diving anywhere else. The extreme height, combined with the cold waters, makes this location a unique but dangerous challenge. Divers may be unaware that high-altitude diving requires special considerations due to the lower air pressure. The body, already under stress from the thin air above ground, faces additional strain as it descends into the depths of the lake. What makes Lake Titicaca even more extraordinary is the scarcity of similar sites. Very few places on Earth allow divers to explore at such high altitudes while offering the opportunity to uncover ancient ruins. While many divers dream of this incredible adventure, it is vital to acknowledge that without proper training and preparation, this experience can quickly turn dangerous. The allure of uncovering these underwater treasures is undeniable, but the risks involved are very real. That's why experienced divers recommend proceeding with caution, always taking the necessary precautions and ensuring that they understand the unique challenges posed by this high-altitude environment. The effects of high-altitude diving at Lake Titicaca isn't the same as diving in tropical waters or even at sea level. The first thing divers notice when they descend into the lake's depths is how much harder it feels to breathe. The air at 2,500 feet is thin, and the pressure is significantly lower than at sea level. This lack of oxygen and reduced atmospheric pressure means that the body has to work harder to maintain equilibrium, making every dive feel deeper and more taxing than it would at lower altitudes. For example, a 40-meter dive in Lake Titicaca feels more like a 63-meter dive at sea level. The decreased pressure changes the way gases dissolve in the body, increasing the risks of decompression sickness, also known as the bends. The lower air pressure means that nitrogen, which is absorbed by the body during dives, will take longer to dissipate. This increases the likelihood of nitrogen bubbles forming in the bloodstream, which can cause severe pain, paralysis, and even death if not treated promptly. These effects are compounded by the cold temperature of the water, which makes it even more difficult to manage the body's natural processes during a dive. Divers often experience cold-induced fatigue more quickly, making it harder to focus on the task at hand. The discomfort and difficulty of regulating breathing at such high altitudes can also make it harder to stick to a dive plan and perform the necessary decompression stops on the way back to the surface. It's essential for divers to understand that high-altitude diving requires more than just physical stamina. It requires careful planning, constant monitoring of air supplies, and a deeper knowledge of how their body reacts under these conditions. Without this understanding, divers are at increased risk of serious injury or even death. A tragic miscalculation. Tragedy struck in Lake Titicaca when a diver miscalculated their air supply and decompression stops during an ascent from the depths of the lake. This tragic event serves as a grim reminder of the dangers that come with high-altitude diving. What might have seemed like a routine dive turned fatal because the diver failed to account for the unique risks associated with the lake's extreme altitude. The incident occurred when the diver ascended too quickly, unaware that the high-altitude environment had affected their body more severely than anticipated. As the diver rose to the surface, nitrogen gas that had dissolved in the body during the dive began to form bubbles. These bubbles clog the bloodstream, leading to decompression. Sickness, a condition that can cause severe pain, paralysis, or even death. In this particular case, the diver was unable to recover in time, and the incident ended tragically. The high altitude of Lake Titicaca complicates recovery efforts. Unlike sea-level diving incidents where medical professionals can act relatively quickly, the altitude makes it difficult to get the necessary treatment fast enough. Emergency medical teams often have to take into account the fact that the lack of oxygen at such altitudes further complicates the body's ability to heal and recover. This tragic incident also highlights how even small mistakes, misjudging air supply or forgetting to account for decompression time, can have life-threatening consequences. It's essential for divers in Lake Titicaca to recognize that even routine dives require extra vigilance and preparation. A single miscalculation can be the difference between a safe experience and a tragic outcome. Challenges of planning dives. Here, diving in Lake Titicaca isn't something that can be approached casually. It requires careful, deliberate planning from start to finish. Divers can't simply assume that their regular diving plans will work at such high altitudes. Every aspect of the dive needs to be adjusted to account for the thin air, cold water, and longer decompression times. For starters, divers must carefully calculate the dive's depth, duration, and air consumption. At high altitudes, the body's ability to process gases changes, so decompression stops need to be longer than usual. Recovery times between dives also must be extended to ensure that the body has enough time to acclimate. Not allowing enough time to adjust can lead to serious health issues, such as decompression sickness or fatigue. The lack of oxygen at these heights is another consideration. While divers might be accustomed to taking short surface intervals between dives, in Lake Titicaca, these breaks must be longer. Insufficient surface time can lead to oxygen deprivation, further complicating the body's ability to perform the next dive safely. As a result, divers must take extra care in monitoring their physical state and adjust their plans accordingly. For divers attempting multiple dives, it's essential to account for how their body will react to the high-altitude conditions. This means building in extra time for rest, staying hydrated, and being prepared for the physical strain the body endures while at altitude. Understanding these nuances can make the difference between a successful dive and a catastrophic one. Risks of rapid ascent. One of the most dangerous aspects of high-altitude diving is the risk posed by rapid ascents. Normally, divers can make their way back to the surface at a controlled pace. However, in Lake Titicaca, the lack of oxygen and lower pressure at the surface make rapid ascents potentially deadly. When a diver ascends too quickly, nitrogen that was absorbed into the body during the dive can form bubbles in the bloodstream, causing decompression sickness. At high altitudes, this process is accelerated because the body is already working under pressure to adjust to the reduced oxygen levels. These nitrogen bubbles can get trapped in the tissues and cause pain, paralysis, or even death. In addition to decompression sickness, rapid ascents can cause other health issues, such as pulmonary edema, fluid buildup in the lungs, and air embolisms. Both of these conditions are life-threatening and can occur when a diver's body is forced to adjust too quickly to the pressure changes that occur during an ascent. That's why divers are urged to take their time when rising from the lake's depths, allowing the body to release nitrogen safely and avoid overtaxing the system. Even experienced divers may find it difficult to avoid the temptation of quickly rising to the surface after a dive, especially when dealing with the challenges of high-altitude conditions. But it's crucial to remember that slow, controlled ascents are the best way to avoid putting the body at risk. Training required high-altitude diving isn't for everyone. It requires specialized training and experience. Only those with advanced dive certifications and high-altitude diving experience should even consider attempting to dive in Lake Titicaca. Even experienced divers need to undergo special training to prepare for the unique conditions of the lake. Divers must be educated in the effects of altitude on the body and the special precautions that need to be taken before, during, and after a dive. This includes learning how to calculate decompression times for higher altitudes, understanding how the body's oxygen needs change, and gaining knowledge on how to manage diving equipment in less than ideal conditions. The high-altitude environment of Lake Titicaca requires divers to be extra cautious, not only with their dive planning, but also with their mental and physical state. Fatigue, dehydration, and anxiety can all affect a diver's performance and decision-making ability. That's why advanced training, combined with extensive experience, is essential for a safe dive in these waters. Without the proper skills, preparation, and mindset, diving in Lake Titicaca can quickly turn from an exciting adventure into a life-threatening risk. Divers must respect the unique dangers of high-altitude diving and be fully prepared for the challenges that come with exploring one of the world's most spectacular yet dangerous dive sites. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time as we uncover more hidden wonders and stories from around the world. Until then, stay curious, stay safe, and keep exploring. Now, let's dive into the depths of the Red Sea, where one of the world's most iconic and deadly dive sites awaits. The Blue Hole is renowned for its beauty, but beneath its surface lies a series of dangerous secrets that have claimed the lives of many unsuspecting divers. The Blue Hole, deadly secrets of the Red Sea's most dangerous dive.
The persons who come to the counter and ask, can I dive the Blue Hole? I want to go Blue Hole, only men.
Do you think there's something in men's psyche?
Absolutely. Men, they want to have adventure, and they want to have a challenge. And women are more like...
The Blue Hole in the Red Sea is not just another beautiful diving spot. It's an underwater wonder that attracts divers from all over the world. But it also carries a dark, deadly reputation. With its crystal-clear waters and jaw-dropping depth, it's a dream for thrill seekers. But it has claimed the lives of many who didn't respect its dangers. Located off Egypt's Sinai Peninsula, the Blue Hole is a diver's paradise and a nightmare waiting to happen. This underwater sinkhole plunges to a staggering depth of over 100 meters, 328 feet, and it's notorious for taking the lives of those who venture too far into its depths. The bone collector, Tariq Omar's role. One man who knows the Blue Hole all too well is Tariq Omar. Known as the Bone Collector, Tariq has spent years diving in the Blue Hole, but not for adventure. His role is far darker. As a recovery diver, Tariq's job is to bring back the bodies of those who never made it to the surface. It's a job that requires not just skill, but emotional strength. Tariq's work is far from glamorous. Every dive, I hope it's the last one I have to do, he said. Recovering the bodies of lost divers is not only physically exhausting, but emotionally draining. Imagine pulling someone's lifeless body from the depths, knowing they came to the Blue Hole in search of adventure, just like he once did. Tariq has spoken openly about the emotional toll his job takes on him. It's one thing to dive for the thrill, it's another to face the harsh reality of what can go wrong. Despite the grim nature of his work, Tariq is deeply committed to helping families get closure. But the cost is high, both physically and mentally. I've seen too many lives lost to ignore the risks, he says. For Tariq, every dive serves as a reminder of how dangerous the Blue Hole can be. Tariq's role highlights the human cost of the Blue Hole, but it's not just his story. There are many others who've lost their lives here. Let's dive into the tragic stories of Martin Guerra and Connor O'Regan, two divers who never made it out. Tragic stories. Martin Guerra and Connor O'Regan. Martin Guerra and Connor O'Regan were experienced divers, and like so many others, they came to the Blue Hole for the thrill. But their adventure ended in tragedy, marking a turning point in the history of this infamous dive site. In 2005, the two men joined a group of divers, but something went terribly wrong during their descent. During the dive, Martin and Connor got separated from their group. In the chaos of the deep, they lost track of each other. Panic set in as they tried to return to the surface, but it was too late. The deep currents and the sudden pressure change worked against them, and they drowned. Their bodies were eventually recovered, but their deaths left a lasting mark on the diving community. It was a wake-up call. As Martin's sister later shared, they were experienced divers. But no matter how much you know, you're never safe in the blue hole. The incident reminded everyone that even the most skilled divers aren't immune to the dangers of this place. So, what makes the blue hole so dangerous? What about it causes even the best divers to lose their lives? Let's explore the unique features of the blue hole that turn it into such a perilous challenge for divers. What makes the blue hole so dangerous? The blue hole is unlike any other dive site. It's a massive underwater sinkhole, and its beauty can be deceiving. While the waters above look calm and inviting, the deeper you go, the more dangerous it becomes. The hole itself reaches depths of over 100 meters, 328 feet, but the true danger lies in the sudden drop-offs and unpredictable currents. One of the main dangers is the sudden change in depth. At around 55 meters, 180 feet, divers reach what's called the arch, a natural bridge that connects the blue hole to the deeper ocean. This is where many divers get caught. The depth, combined with the lack of oxygen at these levels, makes it incredibly hard to recover. As one diver put it, once you're too deep, every second counts. There's no room for mistakes. The risk of getting lost is also high. The currents here are unpredictable, and without proper guidance, it's easy to lose track of time and depth. The combination of pressure, lack of oxygen, and strong currents makes the blue hole a ticking time bomb for divers. While the depth and currents are dangerous enough, the 2011 Igor incident shows just how risky the blue hole can be when divers push beyond their limits. Let's dive into the details of this fatal tragedy. The 2011 Igor incident. In 2011, a diver named Igor set out to explore the depths of the blue hole. But what happened next became a cautionary tale. Ignoring the risks of deep diving, Igor pushed his limits, reaching a staggering depth of 150 meters, 492 feet, without proper decompression stops. For those unfamiliar with diving, decompression stops are essential to safely return to the surface after diving deep. Without these stops, nitrogen builds up in the body, leading to dangerous conditions like decompression sickness. Igor's decision to skip this crucial step would cost him his life. Igor's dive was a textbook example of why safety measures are so important. The blue hole's extreme depth and lack of oxygen made it even more dangerous, and by going too deep without stopping to decompress, Igor's body couldn't handle the pressure. He died during the dive, and his story serves as a tragic reminder of how diving without proper precautions can have deadly consequences. As diving experts say, the deeper you go, the more respect you need to have for the ocean. Ignoring the risks isn't just reckless, it's fatal. Igor's story highlights the crucial importance of understanding your limits and never underestimating the power of the blue hole. Igor's death was also a result of the lack of regulation at the blue hole. Let's talk about the dangers of solo diving and how the absence of official guidelines only increases the risk of tragedy. Lack of regulation and risk of solo diving. One of the biggest risks at the blue hole is the lack of regulation. There are no official guidelines or oversight in place, and many divers venture into the hole alone, without a guide or proper support. This lack of regulation creates a dangerous environment, where divers can make life-threatening mistakes without any safety net. Diving alone is risky enough on its own, but doing so in the blue hole is even more dangerous. Without a buddy to help in case of an emergency, a diver is on their own when things go wrong. As one diver put it, it's not the hole that kills you, it's the choices you make. Without clear rules and safety measures in place, the risk of tragedy increases. Divers are often left to make decisions on their own, and when something goes wrong, there's no one there to help. For Tariq Omar, who has recovered many bodies, it's the lack of regulation that makes the blue hole even more deadly. He often warns, if you dive here, don't go alone and always have a guide. The blue hole is unforgiving to those who think they can do it on their own. The blue hole is as beautiful as it is deadly. Its crystal clear waters and amazing depths call to divers from around the world. But, as we've seen, it's a place where the stakes are high and the risks are real. The stories of Tariq Omar, Martin Gara, Connor O'Regan, Igor, and so many others remind us of the consequences of underestimating the dangers of the blue hole. If you ever find yourself diving in the blue hole, remember this: beauty and danger often go hand in hand. Respect the risks and always prioritize safety over adventure. As one diver put it, the ocean is a beautiful beast. Treat it with care, and it will reward you. As we wrap up today's dive into the world of the blue hole, it's clear why this underwater marvel has earned both its awe-inspiring beauty and deadly reputation. From its stunning depths to the tragic stories of divers who've lost their lives here, the blue hole holds a powerful, haunting allure that draws people from all corners of the world. But, as we've seen, there's a price to pay for those who venture too far without understanding the real risks. The story of Tarek Omar, the bone collector, sheds light on the grim reality that this place holds. His role in recovering lost divers' bodies paints a picture of just how unforgiving the blue hole can be. Divers like Martin Gara and Connor O'Regan, who tragically lost their lives after being separated from their group, remind us that even experienced adventurers can fall victim to the unpredictable nature of the blue hole. But what truly makes this place so dangerous? The extreme depths, sudden changes in currents, and lack of oxygen at certain levels create an environment where even the most seasoned divers can find themselves in peril. When we look at Igor's fatal dive in 2011, it's a stark reminder of how pushing boundaries without considering decompression risks can lead to disaster. The absence of proper regulation and the growing trend of solo diving only adds to the danger, making it clear that safety can't be ignored, no matter how experienced you are. In the end, the blue hole is a place that captivates and challenges all who dare to explore it. But it's crucial to remember that respect for the risks and a strong focus on safety should always come first. If you're planning to dive here or any dangerous location, make sure you have the right training, proper guidance, and the knowledge to protect yourself from the unforeseen dangers that lurk beneath the surface. Thank you for watching, and stay safe out there. If you found this video eye-opening, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more. Stay tuned for our next adventure into the world's most mysterious and dangerous places. Until then, dive wisely and take care.